All right, so moving on to the next segment. I'll be sharing my fight prediction for this weekend's fight in the sport of boxing between Jaron Boots Ennis and Roman Villa. So this will be a huge fight that will be taking place in the welterweight division between Jaron Ennis and Romian Villa. The two will finally meet each other in a huge welterweight fight that has some championship implications to it. Jaron Boots Ennis will be defending his interim IBF championship against Romian Villa in their fight this Saturday in the sport of boxing. So both fighters are actually coming into this fight with some momentum under their belt. Both fighters were fighting in two different welterweight fights on the undercard of the Gervonta Davis versus Hector Luis Garcia undercard that took place in January when Gervonta Davis and Hector Luis Garcia fought. So on that same night, both men were victorious. Jaron Boots Ennis picked up the victory by unanimous decision on the co-main event, defeating Jaron Ennis by unanimous decision to become the new interim IBF world champion. And then you have Romian Villa. He picked up an upset victory over Rashad Ellis by majority decision. That was a huge dramatic comeback win for him. I actually thought that fight between Villa and Rashad Ellis was the second best fight on the Gervonta Davis card. Of course, behind the Gervonta Davis and Hector Luis Garcia fight. But that was one heck of a scrap between those two guys. And it was a dramatic comeback win for Romian Villa. He was down on the scorecards. He came back in dramatic fashion in the later rounds. Got the knockdown against Rashad Ellis, despite the fact that he got knocked down and sent to the canvas early in that fight. And it shows that 12 rounds wins the fight. Not early rounds, all 12 rounds wins the fight. That's what Romian Villa did against Rashad Ellis under the Gervonta Davis, Hector Luis Garcia undercard. So, this is my tail of the tape for both respective fighters heading into this fight this weekend. You have Jaron Boots Ennis, who is 30-0. He has 27 knockouts to his resume, and he's currently the interim IBF champion at the welterweight division. Then you have Romian Villa, who is 26-1. He has 24 knockouts to his resume. Both men have scary knockout power, and that's why I believe we are in store for an absolute banger between these two welterweights this Saturday in the sport of boxing. So these are my keys to victory from Romian Villa if he wants to walk away victorious or walk away the new interim IBF world champion in the welterweight division. So Romian Villa has to use the haymaker punch against Jaron Ennis and make sure he has Jaron Ennis on the ropes before he delivers the huge haymaker blows, the huge haymaker shots. Because once you swing for the fences, you got to make sure you capitalize. And if you're not set defensively, you could get hit with a good counter punch. So Romian Villa has to use the haymaker shot if he has Jaron Ennis backed up on the ropes. He damages opponents with his good haymaker shots. I see it on film. He does it pretty good in the ring. He times that haymaker shot pretty well. And if he connects while Jaron Ennis is on the ropes, he can have him hurt or stun him during the fight, which could lead to a big moment for him in the fight. He definitely has to capitalize on that. And second game plan for him, he has to stand in the pocket and walk Jaron Ennis down. Jaron Ennis is going to be the bigger fighter heading into this fight, so he has to walk down Jaron Ennis, in my opinion, and find success clean uppercuts in the pocket, body shots in the pocket, standing in the pocket, bringing the fight to Jaron Ennis instead of you fighting on your back foot and let Jaron Ennis walk you down. That's gonna be he's gonna be in a world of trouble Saturday night if he does that. So those are my key to victories for Romian Villa come Saturday night. And then my keys of victory for Jaron Ennis. He's got to stick and move defensively. He's a great defensive fighter. He is really good dodging some big shots, dodging some great combinations that fighters display to him. He's a great defensive fighter, and I do believe he will bring his boxing IQ to stick and move to avoid those big time shots, because Romian Villa has a packs a punch just like Jaron Ennis. Both are knockout artists, so he's definitely got to stick and move. Something that stuck out to me in film, I went back, I've looked at the tape of how Jaron Ennis looked on that co-main event against Jaron Ennis on the Gervonta Davis undercard. He looked very sloppy with footwork. He was capitalizing, and the fight was all his in the first half of the fight. Obviously, the fight was his all night, but he did not look sloppy. He did not look fatigued. He looked clean. He looked sharp. After that fifth, sixth round, if you look at that tape, Jaron Ennis' footwork became very sloppy defensively. He wasn't shuffling his feet around the ring as much, and the footwork is there. That's why he was looking lackadaisical as the rounds went on. And I get it. Jaron Ennis that night wanted to send the big welterweights in that division some noise. He wanted to get them to tune into what he was doing. Yes, he was always wanting to fight Earl Spence Jr. Yes, he's always wanted to fight Terrence Bud Crawford. Yes, he always wanted to get a crack at Keith Thurman if possible. He wanted to send a message to Ugas. Okay, I get it. You want to send a message to all the big welterweights, but in a time like that, when the world is watching you on Gervonta Davis's undercard and you're in the co-main event, you can't come up sloppy. That's what happened with his footwork in the second half of the fight. And that's why, against Karen Jukasson, even though he won by unanimous decision, it was by far not his best performance of his boxing career. So footwork cannot be sloppy. It has to be picture perfect from round 1 all the way to round 12, where he could find himself in some trouble in this fight. And patience is the final game plan for him. Do not look for the early knockout. It'll come to you. He's a good counter puncher and needs to time his shots up perfectly against Romian Villa. Let the fight come to him. Walk him down. I think he needs to walk him down as well. He's the bigger fighter. So let the fight come to you. It's not going to be a knockout show every time, and you shouldn't expect that if you're an up-and-coming star. Just let the fight come to you. Be patient. And if the big-time shots come to you, capitalize on it. Be prepared to fight 12 rounds against Romian Villa. But with that being said, I'm going with Jaron Boots Ennis to win this fight Saturday night. But I'm going with him to win this fight by knockout in the 7th round. I think he's just a better overall fighter than Romian Villa. He has more tools in his toolbox, more tricks in his arsenal. I just think that Romian Villa is just not that guy to dethrone Jaron Boots Ennis. I think it's going to take a talented welterweight if he's going to eventually lose that 0 behind his resume. And I think Jaron Boots Ennis is going to successfully retain his IBF interim championship, winning by knockout, or if he can go and defeat Romian Villa but in a 12-round slugger if needed. But those are my fight predictions on Jaron Boots Ennis versus Romian Villa this Saturday in the sport of boxing.